Have you ever stood still, feeling like the world around you is moving while you are stuck, unable to move forward? The dreams that you have, the plans that you've prayed for, the life you've longed to build, they seem so close, yet always just out of reach. You've prayed, you've hoped, and you've tried to push through, yet there you are, still waiting. But what if I told you that the very waiting you feel frustrated by is part of the divine plan? What if I told you that when your soul is truly ready, everything you have been longing for, everything you desire, will find its way to you, perfectly timed? You see, this waiting period is not about you doing something wrong, nor is it about God being silent or inactive. It is about preparation. God knows that timing is everything. He knows that when your soul is ready, everything will come into perfect alignment. The waiting? It's not wasted time. It's divine preparation. What does it mean to be ready? What does it mean for your soul to be ready for what God has promised you? The world says that readiness is about having the right circumstances, the right resources, the right connections, but God doesn't work like the world. His measure of readiness isn't based on what we see on the outside. It's about what He is building inside of you. You might look around and see others who seem to have it all. People getting promotions, finding love, experiencing success, living lives that seem to have everything together. And here you are, watching, waiting, asking, why not me? But that's when you need to understand the concept of divine timing. The world's clock and God's clock aren't the same. The timing for your life is being perfectly orchestrated by a God who understands every detail about you, the things you want, the things you need, and even the things you haven't thought of yet. It's easy to become frustrating during this waiting period, to feel like your dreams are slipping away. You might ask yourself, why isn't anything happening for me? But in this waiting, God is doing His most important work. He is preparing you, shaping your heart, and building your character in ways that will enable you to carry the blessing when it comes. The question then becomes, what is God doing in this waiting period? The first thing you need to know is that He is building your strength. God never allows you to experience waiting without purpose. The waiting period is designed to strengthen you, to build your faith, and to ensure that when the doors finally open, you can walk through them with the wisdom and maturity to sustain the blessings that will come with them. Think about a tree. When a tree is young, it is weak. It needs the elements, the wind, the rain, the sunshine, to strengthen its roots and branches. If the tree were planted in the wrong conditions or before its roots were deep enough, it would fall apart at the first gust of wind. But in time, the tree becomes strong, and its roots grow deep, allowing it to weather any storm. God is making you like that tree. He is planting you in the perfect conditions to help you grow. You may not see it yet, but He is preparing you for a strength that will carry you through every trial. Without this strength, you wouldn't be able to handle what He's preparing for you. When we look at the life of Jesus, we see that even He had to wait. Jesus had a divine purpose to fulfill, but He didn't begin His ministry until He was ready. He spent years preparing, learning, growing, and developing the character He needed to fulfill His calling. His waiting wasn't wasted. It was part of His divine preparation. You are not alone in this process. Jesus Himself waited for the appointed time. And when the time was right, everything unfolded exactly as God had planned. And so it will be for you. Now let's talk about something that's often overlooked during the waiting period: surrender. Surrender is not about giving up. It's about trusting. It's about letting go of your grip on the timeline and saying, God, I trust you. It's about releasing the need to control everything and acknowledging that there is a perfect plan unfolding even when you don't see it. Waiting is hard because it feels like we're not in control. But real readiness comes when we surrender to God's timing. God will never be late. He will never give you something before you're truly ready for it. He knows what you need, and He knows when you need it. The waiting period is not just a time of stillness. It is a time of growth. It's a time when God is teaching you to trust in His plan, to develop patience, and to refine your character. The person you need to be in order to carry the blessing you've been waiting for isn't the same person who entered the waiting period. You're being shaped, molded, and prepared for what God has for you. He is working in you in ways you may not even recognize yet. And there will come a time when your soul is truly ready, when everything will fall into place. You will be able to look back and see how all the waiting, all the growth, and all the lessons were essential to your journey. When your soul is ready, the doors will open and you will walk through them with confidence. You may be asking, how do I know when I'm ready? There will come a moment when you no longer feel like you're waiting for something to happen. Instead, you'll realize that God has been doing a work in you all along. You'll feel the peace, the strength, and the clarity that comes with readiness. You will know in your spirit that you are finally prepared for what God has in store for you. It's not about your circumstances changing, it's about you changing. It's about your heart, your mind, and your soul being prepared to receive the blessing God has in store. And when that moment comes, it will feel as if everything you've ever wanted, everything you've prayed for, was always meant to be yours. So take heart in the waiting. Trust that God is doing something wonderful in your life. The waiting period is not the absence of action. It is the moment where God works the most. He is preparing you. He is strengthening you. He is making sure that when the time is right, you will be ready to receive everything He has for you. You are not forgotten. You are not alone. You are in the process of becoming the person you need to be. And when your soul is ready, everything you've longed for will show up. You don't need to force it. You don't need to rush it. You simply need to trust. Trust that the waiting is working for you, not against you. Trust that God is preparing you for a future that is far beyond what you can imagine. Conclusion of part 1. The waiting is not forever, and when your soul is ready, you will look back at this moment and understand that everything you went through, every tear, every struggle, was worth it. God has a perfect plan for your life. You are right where you need to be. And when the time is right, everything you've been waiting for will show up. Have you ever thought about how a journey begins? When you set out on a path, you don't always know where it's going to lead. But each step, each decision, each moment of progress takes you closer to your destination. But in order to begin, you have to trust that the path is worth walking. That's what trust is all about. Trust is believing that even when you can't see the end, the steps you're taking are leading you somewhere beautiful. It's having faith that even when the path feels uncertain, there is a purpose to every twist and turn. And in this moment of waiting, God is asking you to trust Him. Trust that He has a plan for you, a plan that is far greater than anything you can imagine. It may seem like nothing is happening, but let me assure you, God is working. His timing is perfect. When the time is right, when your soul is truly ready, everything you've been longing for will come. But it won't come on your timeline. It will come on His. And that's okay, because the truth is, God's timeline is always better than ours. The promise of preparation. I know waiting isn't easy. It's one of the hardest things to do, especially when we feel like we've been waiting forever. But understand this, God never wastes a moment. Every second is being used to prepare you for what's ahead. Every delay, every struggle, every moment of waiting is part of the process. Think about the way a diamond is formed. A diamond doesn't start out as a shiny gem. It begins as a piece of rough stone, buried deep beneath the earth. It takes extreme pressure, heat, and time for that stone to become the beautiful diamond it was meant to be. In the same way, God is using every moment of waiting to shape you. He is creating something beautiful within you. The trials, the struggles, the seasons of waiting, they are not for nothing. They are the refining fire that is preparing you for something precious. You are being shaped into something far greater than you realize. The waiting period is the refining fire of your soul. It's the place where God is refining your faith, your character, your patience, and your trust. Without this time of preparation, you wouldn't be able to handle the blessings that are coming your way. But when your soul is ready, when you've been refined by the fire, you will be able to step into your destiny with confidence, knowing that God has prepared you for everything that's ahead. The importance of trusting God's plan. Trust isn't just about waiting for the right moment. It's about trusting that the right moment is already planned. You see, the challenge in waiting isn't just about being patient. It's about trusting the process, trusting the plan, and trusting that God knows what's best for you. When we wait, we often want things to happen on our terms. We want answers now. We want things to move faster. But God's plan isn't about moving fast. It's about moving in perfect timing. Imagine a puzzle, one with hundreds of pieces. If you try to force the pieces together, you might get some to fit, but the puzzle won't look right. It won't be complete. But when you take the time to find the right pieces and place them in the right order, the puzzle will come together beautifully, just as it was meant to be. Your life is like that puzzle. God is putting the pieces together one by one. Sometimes we can't see how the pieces fit. Sometimes we don't understand why things are taking so long. But when the time is right, we will see that every piece has been placed exactly where it was meant to be. The power of patience. Patience isn't just about sitting still. It's about waiting with purpose. It's about knowing that God is in control and trusting that He will move when the time is right. You may wonder, how can I be patient when everything around me feels like it's moving so slowly? The key is to remember that God's plan is unfolding exactly as it should. The waiting is not wasted time. It's in the waiting that God is preparing you for something greater than you could ever imagine. Think about a seed again. When a seed is planted, it's not just sitting there doing nothing. It's working in silence. Under the soil, it's sending out roots, drawing up nutrients, and getting ready to break through the surface. You can't see this process, but it's happening. And the moment the conditions are right, that seed will sprout and begin to grow. In the same way, God is working in your life even when you can't see it. He is strengthening your roots, preparing your heart, and getting you ready for what's ahead. The assurance of God's timing. Here's something you need to know. God's timing is never late, and it's never early. It's always perfect. And though it may feel like you're waiting forever, you are being prepared for something greater than you could imagine. When the time comes, you will see how all the waiting was worth it. The waiting is part of your spiritual growth. It's part of the process that leads you to a place of readiness. You cannot rush God's timing, and trying to rush it will only delay the blessings that are meant for you. Trust that He knows what He is doing, and trust that when the time is right, everything you've longed for will come. You may have doubts, you may question the timing, but that's where trust comes in. Trust that God's plan is perfect. Trust that when the time is right, your soul will be ready to receive what God has for you. Trust that He is preparing you for the blessing, even when you can't see the full picture. The gift of divine timing. One of the most beautiful things about divine timing is that it's a gift. It's the gift of knowing that God is in control. It's the gift of knowing that He is orchestrating every detail of your life.
It's the gift of knowing that your life is not random. It's not left to chance. It's been carefully designed by a loving God who wants only the best for you. There will be moments when you feel like giving up. There will be days when you wonder if you've been forgotten or if your dreams will ever come true. But in those moments, remind yourself, God has a plan for you. His timing is always perfect, and when the moment comes, you will be ready. The beauty of divine timing is that it's never too late. You may feel like you've missed your chance, but God's timing will always find a way. When the time is right, everything will fall into place. And when it does, you'll see that every moment of waiting, every second of doubt was worth it. Have you ever looked at the stillness around you and thought, what am I doing here? Why does it feel like nothing is happening, even though I've been trying so hard? We all face moments when it feels like we're standing still in the middle of our own journey, waiting for something to shift, waiting for that moment when everything aligns. But what if I told you that the waiting is not your enemy? That sometimes it is in the waiting that God does His most profound work in us. It's easy to think that waiting is a time of nothingness, a time when nothing is happening. But in reality, it's a time of growth, a time when God is doing things beneath the surface. You might not see it now, but in this waiting, He's preparing you for the destiny that's ahead. And when the time is right, everything you've been waiting for will manifest. You are not forgotten in this moment. Even though you don't see it, God is working in the hidden spaces. He's doing the work you cannot see, preparing you in ways that you may not even recognize yet. And when the time comes, you'll be amazed at how everything falls into place. The crucial role of patience. Patience, such a simple word, yet one of the most challenging to practice. We want things to happen fast. We want the answers now. We want to see the results today. But true patience isn't about waiting for the right moment to arrive. It's about trusting that the right moment is already planned. Patience is about surrender. It's about letting go of the need to control the timing and trusting that God has your best interests at heart. It's a beautiful act of faith, trusting that the waiting isn't in vain. You are not wasting time. God is using this waiting period to build your character, deepen your faith, and prepare you for the blessings that are about to unfold.
When you wait on God, it's not just about standing still. It's about preparing your heart to receive what He has in store. The waiting is a time of refinement. It's a time when God is working on you, shaping you, and making you stronger. Think about gold. Gold is refined in the fire. The process of purification isn't pleasant. The gold is heated up, the impurities are drawn out, and it's then that the gold becomes pure, beautiful, and strong. This is how God refines us. The trials, the struggles, the waiting, these are not meant to destroy you. They are meant to purify you, to remove the things that no longer serve you. And just like the gold, when the time comes, you'll shine brighter than ever. God uses this time to work on your heart, to remove any doubts, fears, or insecurities, to prepare you for the blessings He's about to pour into your life. The waiting is a necessary part of that preparation. It is the moment when God is getting you ready for something greater than you've ever imagined. Trusting in the timing of the journey. When you think about your journey, what comes to mind? Is it a straight line? A simple path from one place to another? Or is it more like a winding road with twists, turns, and unexpected detours? That's the beauty of divine timing. The path that God has set for you isn't always the straight path. Sometimes it's a winding road. Sometimes it's filled with detours and delays. But every step, every moment
is part of His perfect plan. Trust that every detour, every delay, every moment of waiting is part of your journey. It's part of the process that is leading you to the destiny He has planned for you. You might not see it now, but trust that every moment is necessary. The power of surrender. Surrendering is one of the hardest parts of this journey. It's hard to give up control, to release the timeline and trust that God knows what's best. We want to rush through the waiting, to jump ahead to the destination. But surrender is the key to peace. When you let go of your need to control everything, when you stop trying to force things into place, that's when you truly surrender. And when you surrender, you open the door for God to work in your life in ways you could never imagine. He's been working behind the scenes all along. But you have to trust that His plan is perfect, even when you can't see it. Surrendering doesn't mean you stop doing the work. It doesn't mean you give up on your dreams. It means trusting that God has the best plan for you. And when you let go of your need to control, He will take care of the rest. The peace in waiting. There's something incredible about waiting with peace. When you truly trust that God has everything under control, you stop fighting against the process. You stop questioning every delay, every struggle, and you begin to rest in His timing. This peace isn't about the absence of challenges or delays. It's about knowing that no matter what happens, God is in control. You can rest in the assurance that His plan will not fail. His plan is perfect, and it is unfolding exactly as it should. The shift in perspective. When your soul is ready, there's a shift. You'll stop seeing the waiting as something negative. You'll stop feeling like you're stuck. Instead, you'll see it for what it truly is, a time of preparation, a time when God is working on you, and you'll begin to understand that every second of waiting is necessary for your growth. When that shift happens, you'll find yourself feeling more at peace, more confident, and more assured that what's coming is going to be worth it. You'll trust that everything is falling into place, and you'll know deep in your heart that God is preparing you for something far beyond what you've been able to imagine. The beauty of God's timing. There's a unique beauty in God's timing. When the moment finally arrives, you'll realize that it couldn't have happened any sooner. Every delay, every moment of waiting led you to this exact moment. And when you step into the blessing that God has for you, it will feel like everything has come together perfectly. Have you ever felt like everything around you is still, like you're stuck in a moment of suspended animation? You want to move forward, but every step feels like it leads you nowhere. You've prayed, you've hoped, and yet the promises you've been waiting for are nowhere to be found. It's in moments like this that we must remember God is always working, even when we can't see it. The hardest part of waiting is not knowing what's happening beneath the surface. We look around, waiting for signs, waiting for breakthroughs, and yet nothing seems to change. But what we often forget is that the greatest work is happening where our eyes can't see. God's plan is at work in your life, even in those quiet moments when it feels like nothing is happening. Behind the scenes, He's preparing everything, aligning circumstances, molding hearts, and creating opportunities. God is working in ways you can't even begin to understand, and He's working on you. The hidden work. Behind the scenes. There's a famous saying, "Not all that glitters is gold." What if I told you that not all that is visible is where the true transformation takes place? There's so much happening beneath the surface, in the hidden places. Your soul is like the roots of a tree. The roots don't show themselves above the ground, but they are what hold the tree steady, what nourish it and give it the strength it needs to grow tall and strong. While you're waiting, God is working in the unseen. He's building a foundation for the blessings that will come. Even though you can't see it, God is positioning the right people, the right opportunities, and the right circumstances. He's aligning everything to fall into place at the perfect time. Imagine an artist painting a masterpiece. The artist doesn't start by showing you the finished painting. No, they start with sketches, rough outlines, layers of paint that gradually come together. What seems like chaos and confusion at first is actually part of the process of creating something beautiful. In the same way, God is layering your life with moments that seem small, insignificant, or even frustrating. But every step, every delay, every moment of waiting is a brushstroke on the canvas of your life. And when it all comes together, you'll see the beauty of the masterpiece God has been creating all along. The divine plan at work. In the Bible, we see numerous stories where God's timing was at work in ways that no one could have predicted. Think of Joseph. He was betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, thrown into prison. For years, it seemed like nothing was going right for him. But in those hidden moments, God was preparing Joseph for greatness. And when the time was right, Joseph stepped into his destiny, second only to Pharaoh in Egypt. What looked like a series of setbacks was actually a part of God's perfect plan. The same is true for you. What may seem like a delay or a roadblock right now could very well be the very thing that prepares you for the greatness that lies ahead. God's plan is in motion, even when we can't see it.
We all want things to happen on our terms and in our timing. But God's plan is so much greater. The waiting isn't just about what's to come. It's about what God is doing in the waiting. He is preparing you for something extraordinary, and He's aligning your life in ways you don't even realize. The season of growth. The waiting period is also a season of personal growth. We often look at waiting as a passive experience, but it is anything but that. While we wait for the fulfillment of our desires, God is growing us. In the natural world, growth takes time. Just as a tree doesn't grow in a moment, our spiritual growth is not instantaneous. God is developing your character, your patience, your faith, and your trust in Him. You might not see it now, but you are growing stronger each day. Consider the story of David again. Before he became king, David spent years in the fields protecting his father's sheep. Those years were not wasted. They were years of training, years of learning how to trust God in the quiet, unseen moments. And when God called David to be king, David was ready. He wasn't just ready in his abilities, but he was ready in his heart. God is doing the same for you. He's building the strength and character you'll need to step into your destiny. When the time comes, you will look back at the waiting period and understand that it was the foundation that made you ready for the blessings ahead. Trusting in the unseen path. The hardest part of walking this journey is not knowing what lies ahead. We are so focused on the future, on what we can't see, that we forget the beauty of the path we're on. Sometimes, the journey is not about arriving at the destination as quickly as possible. Sometimes, the journey is about the lessons we learn, the people we meet, and the transformation that happens within us as we walk. When you look at your life, it may seem like the road ahead is unclear, but God sees the whole picture. He sees the end from the beginning. And even though you can't see it yet, He's already paved the way for you. It's like driving through fog. When you're in the middle of it, all you can see is what's right in front of you. But even though the fog obscures your view,
you still trust the road ahead. You trust that the path will clear, that you'll be able to see the road clearly again. That's how God's timing works. It might seem unclear now, but trust that God is guiding your steps, and when the time is right, He will reveal the full path before you. The peace of waiting. Waiting doesn't have to feel like a struggle. It can be a time of peace. When you trust God's process, when you trust that He is working behind the scenes, the waiting period doesn't have to be a source of anxiety. It can be a time of rest. There's a peace that comes with knowing that God is in control. He is orchestrating every detail of your life, even the delays, the struggles, the moments of silence. When you surrender to His timing, you allow peace to fill your heart. You stop striving, stop trying to force things to happen, and instead, you rest in the knowledge that God's plan is unfolding perfectly. Imagine a boat floating on the ocean. The ocean may have waves and winds, but the boat is safe because it's anchored. Your soul is anchored in God's timing. And even though the journey may feel turbulent, you can rest assured that God is navigating the course. You are safe in His hands. The unfolding of God's plan. One of the most amazing things about God's plan is that it doesn't happen all at once. It unfolds step by step, day by day. You may not see it now, but every moment is leading you closer to the fulfillment of your dreams. Every day you're getting closer to the moment when everything aligns perfectly. And when that moment comes, you will see how all the pieces of your life fit together perfectly. You may be at a place where you feel like nothing is happening, but rest assured, God is at work. And when the time is right, you will be ready. Your soul will be prepared and the blessings will come. Have you ever found yourself staring at a door that just won't open? No matter how hard you push, no matter how much you try to make things happen on your own, it just doesn't work. And in those moments, it can feel like the universe is against you. But what if the door isn't locked by fate, but by God's perfect timing? We've all been there. The moments when nothing seems to be moving forward. The moments when all you can do is wait, unsure of when the door will finally open. But here's the truth. God is never late. What we see as a delay is actually the very thing that's preparing us for what's ahead. What if the waiting isn't about being stuck or forgotten? What if it's about being prepared? What if right now God is working on you in ways you can't even begin to see? Because when the time is right, when your soul is ready, the doors will open. And when they do, you'll understand why you had to wait. The role of surrender. One of the hardest things to do is to let go of control. We live in a world that tells us to push harder, to work harder, to make things happen. We are constantly told that if we want something, we need to take action. But what if the greatest act of faith is not to act, but to surrender? Surrender doesn't mean giving up. It doesn't mean you stop working towards your goals or stop striving for the desires in your heart. Surrender is the act of letting go of your control over the outcome. It's trusting that God has a better plan for you than you could ever imagine, and knowing that His plan is far greater than anything you could plan for yourself. In the waiting, surrender is your peace. It's the ability to rest in the knowledge that God's timing is perfect. You are not forgotten in this time of waiting. You are not alone. God is doing something inside of you, preparing you for a future that is more beautiful than you can imagine. The beauty of God's plan. Here's something beautiful to remember. God's plan is always perfect. It doesn't always look the way we think it should, but it's always the right plan. God's ways are higher than our ways. His thoughts are higher than our thoughts. What we see as delays, detours, and setbacks, He uses as part of a greater purpose.
You may look at your life and wonder why things haven't fallen into place yet. Maybe you feel like you've been waiting forever. But God is never early and He is never late. His timing is perfect. When Joseph was sold into slavery by his brothers, it seemed like everything was falling apart. But in reality, God was positioning Joseph for greatness. In time, Joseph would rise to become second in command in Egypt, saving nations and his own family from famine. Every setback, every moment of pain was part of God's perfect plan. And in your life, the same is true. The struggles, the delays, and the waiting are part of the plan. God is using every part of your journey to shape you, to prepare you, and to align you with the destiny He has for you. The call to trust. If there's one thing we need in this waiting period, it's trust. Trust that God is not only guiding you, but preparing you for something greater than you could ever imagine. In the waiting, it's easy to become anxious, to question God's plan. We wonder why things are taking so long. We wonder if we've been forgotten. But God has not forgotten you. He sees the bigger picture. When you trust God with your future, you surrender the need to control the outcome.
You might not understand the process right now. You might not see why things are taking the course they are, but trust that God knows exactly what He's doing. The moment you decide to trust, to surrender, is the moment you begin to walk in peace. Peace comes when we trust that the waiting is part of God's perfect plan. Signs of readiness. Now, as you continue through the waiting, there will be signs that your soul is becoming ready for the blessings ahead. These signs may not be dramatic, but they will be felt in your heart. Peace. You begin to feel an inner peace that comes from knowing God is in control. The restlessness will start to fade, and you'll begin to feel grounded in God's timing. Clarity. The fog will begin to clear. You may not have all the answers yet, but you'll start to see the path ahead more clearly. Growth. You'll notice yourself becoming more patient, more trusting, more accepting of God's plan for your life. You'll begin to see that the waiting was not wasted time. It was time well spent in God's hands. Hope. Where once you felt despair, you'll begin to feel a renewed sense of hope. You'll realize that everything you've been waiting for is already in motion, even if you can't see it yet. These are the signs that God is preparing you, that He's aligning your soul with His will. The moment your soul is ready, the doors will open and you'll walk through them with peace and confidence. The perfection of divine timing. Sometimes we think we know the right time. We think we can rush things, make them happen on our own. But if we did, we'd miss out on God's perfect timing. The beauty of divine timing is that it's never early and never late. It's always perfect. In the Bible, we see how divine timing worked in the lives of many. Think of Esther. She had to wait for the perfect moment to reveal herself to the king and save her people. If she had acted sooner or later, things wouldn't have played out as they did. Her moment came at the perfect time, God's time. Your life is no different. God knows the perfect moment for everything. And when the moment is right, the doors will open and you'll walk through them. You'll step into the blessings you've been waiting for, and it will feel like everything has come together at once. The timing will be so perfect that you'll see how every delay, every challenge, and every waiting period was a part of the process that led you to this moment. The gift of waiting. Now let's talk about the gift of waiting. Waiting isn't a punishment, it's a gift. It's a gift because in the waiting, God does His greatest work in us. In the waiting, we learn to trust. We learn to let go. We learn to rely on God's strength instead of our own. As you continue to wait, remember that the waiting is not a time of inactivity. It's a time of preparation, a time for your soul to be readied for what's ahead. And when the time comes,
you will be ready. You will be prepared to step into the blessings that God has been preparing for you all along. Have you ever found yourself in the middle of uncertainty, not knowing which way to go? It's easy to get caught up in the unknown. You want clarity, you want answers, and yet it feels like everything is in flux. The waiting period can often feel like a fog, difficult to see through, disorienting, and uncomfortable. But here's the truth. Even in the uncertainty, God is at work. Sometimes it's in the moments when we don't have all the answers that God works the most. It's in the uncertainty that our faith is tested, our trust is refined, and our readiness for what's next is perfected. Faith is not about having all the answers. It's about trusting that God does, and that His plan will unfold perfectly at the right time. If you're in a season of waiting where everything feels uncertain, I want you to know that God is still moving. Even when you can't see it, even when you can't understand it, He's preparing you. And when the time is right, He will reveal everything you've been waiting for. Embracing the unseen. We are often so focused on what we can see that we forget to trust in what we cannot see. In the world, we are trained to seek answers, to rely on what is tangible, what can be touched, measured, and calculated. But God works differently. He is doing more in the unseen than we could ever imagine. Think about a tree in the winter. The branches are bare and it seems lifeless. You may look at it and wonder if it will ever bloom again. But underneath the surface, the roots are still alive, still working, preparing the tree for the spring. You may not see it, but the tree is alive with potential. Your soul is the same. In this season of uncertainty, God is doing the unseen work. He's preparing you, strengthening you, and positioning you for what's ahead. While you wait, trust that the work is still being done, even if it isn't visible to your eyes. When you start to feel like nothing is happening, when you feel like you're stuck in a season of waiting, remember that God is doing more in the quiet than you could ever understand. Trust the unseen. The faithfulness of God. In this season of waiting, it's crucial to remember that God is faithful. His promises are true, and His timing is perfect. We often struggle with waiting because we lose sight of the truth that God will come through for us. We become frustrated, anxious, and weary, and we begin to question whether He really will do what He said. But God's faithfulness is not based on how we feel. It's based on His unchanging nature. He has never failed. He will never fail. He is faithful to His word, and when the time is right, He will fulfill every promise He has made to you. Even in the waiting, His faithfulness never wavers. Trusting in the process. It's easy to focus on the destination. We want to get to the end result, the moment we get what we've been waiting for. But here's something important. The process is just as important as the destination. God is working on you during this time of waiting. He's not just preparing the blessings He has for you, He's preparing you for the blessings. If you jump ahead too soon, if you skip the process, you might not be ready to handle the very thing you've been praying for. The Israelites wandered in the desert for 40 years before entering the Promised Land. 40 years. That sounds like an eternity. But during those 40 years, God was preparing them. He was teaching them to trust Him, to rely on Him, and to have faith in His promises. If they had arrived too soon, they wouldn't have been ready to inherit the land.
In your own life, the waiting period is not a waste. It's part of the process that's shaping you, teaching you, and preparing you for what lies ahead. Trust the process. Know that God is doing something significant in you during this time, and when the time comes, you will be ready to step into your destiny with confidence. Finding strength in the waiting. It's easy to feel discouraged when we're waiting for something important to happen. You may feel like you're being left behind, like everyone else is moving forward while you're standing still. But here's the truth. The waiting is a season of strengthening. It's in the waiting that God strengthens your faith. He teaches you to trust Him, to hold on when it feels like nothing is happening. It's in the waiting that you learn to rely on His strength, not your own. Think about a runner training for a race. They don't get stronger by running fast all the time. They build their endurance by pushing through the difficult moments, by running when their muscles ache, when they're tired, when they feel like they can't keep going. It's in those moments of struggle that their strength grows. Your faith is the same. The waiting season is your time to build spiritual endurance. It's your time to get stronger, to develop patience, to learn how to wait with grace. And when the time comes, you will be ready to run the race ahead of you with strength, confidence, and perseverance. Embracing the fullness of God's timing. God's timing isn't just about when things happen. It's about how everything aligns in a way that is beyond our understanding. He knows the perfect time to bring everything together. He knows when you're ready, even when you can't see it. Think of a gardener. A gardener doesn't rush the plants to bloom. They wait for the right season, the right conditions. And when those conditions are perfect, the flowers bloom, the fruit ripens, and everything flourishes. God is like that gardener, nurturing and growing the good things in your life, waiting for the perfect season to bring them forth. And when the time comes, it will be more beautiful than you could ever imagine. You will look back at the waiting and understand that it was all part of God's perfect plan. The assurance of what's to come. In the waiting, it can feel like you're not moving forward, like you're stuck. But take heart. God is moving you forward, even when it doesn't feel like it. You are closer to your breakthrough than you realize. When the time is right, you will see that everything you've gone through has led you to this moment. Your soul is being prepared for something incredible. You may not see it now, but trust that God is aligning everything, your heart, your circumstances, your future, exactly as it should be. And when the doors open, you will walk through them with confidence, knowing that you've been prepared for this moment. Your soul will be ready to receive everything God has for you, and it will feel like the fulfillment of a dream. Have you ever stood on the edge of a new beginning, feeling like everything is about to change, but you're still waiting for the sign to step forward? The feeling of standing between two worlds, one that's behind you and one that's before you, can be both exhilarating and terrifying. You want to step into what God has for you, but something is holding you back, and that something is often the waiting. Waiting doesn't just feel like time passing, it feels like time standing still. And in that stillness, we wonder if we're really moving forward at all. But here's the truth. During this waiting period, you are being transformed. God is using the waiting to shape you, to prepare you for what's ahead. It's not a season of inactivity, it's a season of spiritual and personal growth. You may not see it now, but every moment of waiting is building something incredible within you. God isn't just preparing your circumstances, He's preparing you. He's preparing your heart to receive what's coming, and the transformation that's happening in your soul right now will be the very thing that allows you to step into your purpose. The waiting season as a time of transformation. Imagine a caterpillar in its cocoon. It seems like nothing is happening. It's in a confined space, unable to move freely, seemingly still. But beneath the surface, incredible changes are happening. The caterpillar is being transformed into something new, something more beautiful. When the time comes, the cocoon will break open and the butterfly will emerge. Your waiting period is your cocoon. It may feel like you're stuck, like you're not moving forward, but God is doing something deep inside you. He's transforming you from the inside out. The discomfort, the frustration, and even the quiet moments of waiting are part of your transformation. You are becoming who God has created you to be. And when the time comes for you to step into the blessing you've been waiting for, you'll realize that everything you've gone through, the challenges, the waiting, the preparation, was part of your spiritual growth. You'll look back and see that this season of waiting wasn't wasted. It was essential to your transformation. The beauty of divine refinement. In the waiting, God is refining you. Just as gold is refined in fire, your faith is being refined in this season. The waiting period isn't just about sitting idly by, it's about growing stronger, deeper, and more aligned with God's will. You may be going through struggles, doubts, or even moments where it feels like everything is falling apart, but God is using those moments to purify your faith, to strip away the things that don't serve you and to make you more fully who He has called you to be. And refinement is a process, and the process can be uncomfortable. It's not easy to let go of old habits, old mindsets, or old fears. But God is using this time to shape you into someone who can handle the blessings He is about to bring into your life. Just like a sculptor chisels away at a block of marble to create a masterpiece, God is chiseling away the imperfections to reveal the person He's calling you to be. And when the transformation is complete, you will be stronger, more resilient, and more capable of stepping into the life He has prepared for you. Trusting the timing of the transformation. The thing about transformation is that it's never immediate. It doesn't happen overnight, and it's not something we can control. Transformation takes time. It happens in stages, sometimes quietly, sometimes with great struggle, but always with a purpose. Sometimes we wish that we could hurry the process. We wish we could skip the waiting and jump to the blessing. But God's timing is perfect. He knows exactly how long you need to wait, how much you need to grow, and when you are truly ready. The transformation that God is doing in you cannot be rushed. If you try to push the process, you may miss the lessons that are shaping you for what's to come. Trust that God is doing exactly what needs to be done in this season, and when the time comes, you will emerge as a person who is ready for everything He has for you. Letting go of control. One of the hardest parts of this transformation is learning to let go of control. We often want to control the timing, the circumstances, and the outcome. We want to know exactly when the breakthrough will come, when the waiting will end, and when we will finally step into the life we've been longing for. But true trust comes when we surrender control. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means surrendering to God's perfect timing. It means trusting that He knows when the time is right. God's plans are always better than our own. When we stop trying to force things to happen and trust that He has the best plan for us, we begin to experience peace in the waiting.
The waiting is not a time of inactivity. It's a time of spiritual growth, trust, and surrender. And when we surrender, we stop fighting against the process. We allow God to do His perfect work in us. The role of faith in the waiting. Faith is what sustains us in the waiting. It's easy to lose hope, to grow weary, or to start questioning whether things will ever change. But faith is what keeps us anchored. It's the belief that God is working, even when we can't see it. It's the trust that He has a perfect plan for us, even when we don't understand the process. When your faith is tested, remember that God has never failed you. He's been faithful in the past, and He will be faithful now. The waiting is a test of your faith, and it's also an opportunity for your faith to grow stronger. The peace that comes with waiting, peace isn't something that just happens. It's something we choose to embrace even in the middle of uncertainty. In the waiting, there is a peace that surpasses understanding. It's a peace that comes when we trust that God is in control, when we trust that He is working behind the scenes, even when we can't see it. When you surrender to God's plan, when you embrace the transformation that is happening within you, you will experience a peace that will carry you through every season of waiting. That peace is a sign that your soul is becoming ready. It's a sign that you are aligning yourself with God's will and trusting that when the time is right, He will fulfill the promises He has made. The beauty of becoming ready. As you continue in this waiting season, take a moment to reflect on the person you are becoming. The waiting is not just about receiving the blessing, it's about becoming the person who can handle that blessing. In this process, God is creating something beautiful inside of you. He is refining you, shaping your character, and preparing your heart to receive everything He has in store. The transformation happening inside you right now is leading you to the life you've always dreamed of. And when the time comes, when you are truly ready, you will see that all of this waiting was worth it. You will step into your purpose, into your destiny, with the strength and confidence that God has built in you. Have you ever found yourself standing at the edge of a new chapter in your life, feeling like you should take the next step, but you're still waiting for something to happen? It's like standing at the doorway of a new season, wondering if it's the right time to walk through. The world tells us to go, to push, to move forward. But there's a voice inside saying, "Not yet. Wait. Trust." Waiting can be uncomfortable, especially when we are so used to seeing progress and results. We live in a world that values speed, quick fixes, fast success, instant gratification, but God's timing is different. It doesn't run on our clock, and that's okay. In fact, it's more than okay. It's the best thing that could ever happen for you. The waiting is not the absence of movement. It's a season of preparation. It's not a time to be idle. It's a time to be shaped, to be refined, and to become the person God has destined you to be. And when your soul is ready, everything will fall into place at exactly the right moment. The beauty of God's perfect timing. One of the most profound truths in life is that God's timing is always perfect. It's never too early, never too late, and always exactly what we need. We may feel like we're running out of time or that we're too late for something, but God's timing is flawless. Think of the way a gardener tends to a plant. The gardener doesn't force the plant to grow. The gardener waits for the right conditions, for the right season, and when the time is right, the plant will bloom. God is tending to you, waiting for the perfect moment to bring the blessings He has prepared. Surrendering the need for control. One of the hardest parts of waiting is surrendering control. We want to dictate the terms of our lives. We want to control the timeline, the steps, and the outcomes. But surrender is the key to peace. True surrender isn't about giving up. It's about giving up the need to control everything. It's about recognizing that God knows what is best for you. When we let go of our need to control the situation, we open ourselves up to the fullness of His plan. We stop striving and we start trusting. Let go of the pressure to rush things. Let go of the need to push ahead when the timing isn't right. Surrender your timeline to God. Trust that when you let go, He will carry you exactly where you need to be. The transformation of the soul. The waiting period is not just about waiting for the blessing, it's about allowing God to transform you. God is shaping you in ways you cannot yet understand. You may feel like you're in a holding pattern, but what's actually happening is that you are being prepared. You are being molded into the person who is capable of receiving all that God has in store for you. Consider the process of refining silver. The silver is placed in a furnace and heated up until it melts, and then the impurities are skimmed off. The process is intense, but it's what makes the silver pure. The same is true for you. The waiting period is God's refining process, removing impurities, weaknesses, and things that don't align with His will for your life. The heat may feel intense at times, but it's in those moments that God is working the hardest. He's purifying your heart, your soul, and your character, so that when the blessings come, you'll be ready to handle them with grace and wisdom. The gift of patience. Patience isn't passive. Patience is an active choice to trust. It's a choice to remain faithful, to stay grounded, and to wait with expectancy for the good things God has promised. Patience doesn't mean sitting back and doing nothing. It means trusting that God is working in the background, even when you can't see it. Patience is like planting a seed and waiting for it to grow. The seed doesn't try to push itself out of the soil. It doesn't demand to grow faster. It simply waits, trusting that the right conditions will come, and in time, it will bloom. Your patience in the waiting is a reflection of your trust in God's plan. When you choose patience, you choose peace. You choose to believe that what God has for you is coming at the perfect time. Embracing the unknown. The unknown is often the hardest part of the journey. It's the space between where you are and where you want to be. And in that space, we often feel lost, unsure, and anxious. But what if the unknown is actually the most beautiful part of the process? When we don't know the exact outcome, we are forced to trust. We are forced to let go of our own plans and lean on God's understanding. The unknown can be a place of fear, but it can also be a place of growth. It's in the unknown that God often reveals His most beautiful plans. He wants us to embrace the journey, not just the destination. When you embrace the unknown, you open yourself up to the possibility of a life beyond your wildest dreams. You allow God to surprise you with what He has in store. And when the blessing comes, it will be even more beautiful than you could have imagined.
The peace of resting in God's timing. There is a deep peace that comes when we rest in God's timing. It's the peace that comes from knowing that we don't have to make everything happen on our own. God is in control, and His plan is unfolding exactly as it should. Rest doesn't mean inactivity. It means trusting that God has everything in hand. It means knowing that while you're waiting, God is still working. He's still preparing you, still positioning you, still aligning the circumstances. And when the time is right, you will step into everything you've been waiting for. In the waiting, allow yourself to rest. Allow yourself to trust that God is moving even when you can't see it. God's timing is perfect, and His plan is good. You can rest in that truth. Celebrating the waiting season. It might sound strange, but there is something to celebrate in the waiting. While everyone is focused on the destination, we often forget to celebrate the journey. The waiting is where God is doing His most profound work in us. It's where our faith is tested, our patience is refined, and our trust is strengthened. Rather than rushing to the end, take a moment to celebrate where you are. Celebrate the progress you've made. Celebrate the lessons you've learned. Celebrate the faith you've built. And when the blessing finally comes, you'll realize that it was worth every moment of waiting. Now, after all the waiting, after all the moments of uncertainty and patience, there comes a time when you stand at the threshold of everything you've been praying for, everything you've been hoping for. You've spent years in waiting, asking, searching, and wondering, when will the door open? When will the breakthrough come? And then, one day, the door opens. The thing you've been longing for, whether it's love, success, peace, or purpose, appears before you not as something you've worked for, but as a gift that's been perfectly timed by God. You realize with a deep sense of awe that it couldn't have come any sooner. Everything you've experienced, every moment of waiting, every lesson learned was a part of the perfect plan that God had for you. The door opens, and in that moment, you step into the life you've always dreamed of. When your soul is ready, everything will show up. Not a moment too soon, not a second too late. It comes in God's perfect timing. The beauty of the fulfillment. When that moment arrives, when the promise is fulfilled, you will realize that the waiting was not in vain. Every moment of doubt, every second of frustration was a stepping stone leading you to this moment. You will look back and understand that God was working in every single detail. The beauty of divine timing is that it's not just about receiving the blessing. It's about becoming the person who is ready to receive it. The waiting period prepared you in ways you could never have imagined. It shaped you, it refined you, and it made you strong enough to handle the blessings God was about to pour into your life. You will realize that the blessings, when they arrive, aren't just things or achievements. They're the culmination of everything God has been working on in you. They are the fruit of your faith, your patience, and your trust. God's timing is always perfect. Maybe in the past, you wondered why things weren't happening faster, why you couldn't see the full picture. But now, standing at the fulfillment of God's promise, you realize that God's timing is perfect. Think of the Israelites wandering in the desert for 40 years. From their perspective, it seemed like a long, drawn-out journey. But in that time, God was preparing them for the promised land. He was teaching them to trust, to rely on Him, and to understand that the journey, no matter how difficult, was a necessary part of their story. Your journey has been no different. Every moment of waiting, every struggle, every trial was part of God's process of preparation. And now that the moment has arrived, you see it with clarity. God's timing was perfect. The beauty of patience rewarded. As you step into this new season, remember that the greatest reward wasn't just the blessing itself. The greatest reward was the patience you cultivated, the trust you learned, and the strength you gained along the way. You will look back on the waiting period not with regret, but with gratitude. You will see how it prepared you for this moment, how it equipped you with everything you need to step into the life God has prepared for you. Patience wasn't just about waiting. It was about becoming the person God needed you to be. God was teaching you, refining you, and building you up, and now you are ready for everything He has in store. The moment of fulfillment. When the door opens, you may find yourself standing there in awe, almost unable to believe that it's finally happening. This is the moment you've been waiting for, the moment when everything you've prayed for begins to unfold. But this moment isn't just about receiving the blessing. It's about embracing what you've become. You've walked through the fire, you've weathered the storms, and now you are standing on the other side, stronger, wiser, and more at peace than you've ever been. This is the moment when you can look back and say, I understand now. It was all worth it. Celebrating the journey. As you step into this new season, take a moment to celebrate not just the arrival of the blessing, but the journey that got you here. Every tear, every moment of uncertainty, every prayer, and every step of faith was part of your story. Celebrate the growth, the transformation, and the strength that you now carry with you. God's plan for your life has always been bigger than what you could have imagined. His timing has always been perfect. You are now walking in the fullness of His promises. Take a moment to thank Him for the journey, thank Him for the waiting, and thank Him for the beautiful future He has brought you into. The assurance of what's next. Now that you've stepped into this new chapter, remember this. This is not the end. It's just the beginning.
This blessing, this moment, is a sign of what's to come. There are more blessings ahead. There are more promises to be fulfilled. God is not finished with you yet. When your soul is ready, the blessings will keep coming. The journey doesn't stop here. God has a purpose for every season of your life. And when you walk with Him, trusting His timing, His plan, and His process, you will continue to step into more and more of the life He has promised you. Conclusion of Part 9. So as you step into this new season, remember, everything you've been waiting for is here, and it's only the beginning. God's timing was perfect, and now you are walking in the fulfillment of His promises. Your soul was ready, and because of that, everything you've longed for is finally showing up. Celebrate this moment, but know that the best is yet to come. When your soul is ready, everything will show up.